Hello and welcome to the Country Code Podcast, a show for you, for the people out in the country, or maybe you're even in the city, but you're not necessarily a tech person. You have a business, you have a significant hobby that you do that you would like to maybe take into business, but you're bogged down already. Your life doesn't have any extra time in it. You're spending every waking moment with your pre-obligations you already have, whether that's work or school. You have things you already need to do that literally take up every waking minute of your time. Monday through Sunday, and then it starts all over at Monday again. And when you get any free chance, the last thing you want to do is focus on working. I get it. I've been there. But the great news is that everything has changed very, very significantly here, definitely in the past few years. And so I have two things on this first episode, the first show of the Country Code Podcast, that I'd like to talk to you about. And the first thing is going to be about you need to be interfacing, you need to be interacting with on a day-to-day basis, every single day, multiple times throughout the day, an AI. And so the first will be for maybe you've never done it, maybe you're listening to me right now thinking, gosh, I don't even know what AI, I've heard people talk about it, it scares me, I hear it's going to take the jobs, I hear it's going to end the world. You know, maybe that's the point at some point way down the road, but we're way far from that. And AI is a very, very useful tool, and it can be helpful in so many different ways. So if you've never used an AI before, the first thing I would ask you to do would be just to go sign up for an AI account with, or an account with an AI company like OpenAI. You can go set up an account with OpenAI, and you can use ChatGPT. That is OpenAI's product. So if you can go set up an account with OpenAI, then you'll be able to use ChatGPT. And all you need to do is go to Google and ask Google how to do it. How to set up a chat or an OpenAI account, or how to get ChatGPT, and Google will tell you how to do it. There will be web pages there, and Google will likely even populate its own little AI feature up there at the top to tell you how to do it. So, and if you're an advanced person, if you're already using ChatGPT, you hang on to it, because I got something else for you. But if back to the ChatGPT, if you've never used that, open up an OpenAI account, start using ChatGPT, or maybe you've heard about OpenAI, or you've heard ChatGPT, you're not sure, you don't want to use that one. There's another one called Grok, and Grok is an AI that is xAI's AI platform. So xAI is the parent company that owns Grok, and I believe X even now falls under xAI. It was a weird kind of shuffle with the business that they did, when Elon first bought Twitter, then, they changed the name to X, and then it was X, and then then xAI started after that, and not to go off on a tangent, but those two are now kind of brought together. And so you can go sign up for an X account, and you can use Grok. And Grok is an awesome AI. And so you can do it. You can ask it anything, right? Like let's say you love to fish. You can ask it, about the location that you fish in, the best, whatever your questions are about fishing, or maybe you're into cars and you have, this issue going on with your vehicle. Maybe you're not a car person, but we can't always take it into a mechanic or something. You just need to figure it out. It could definitely help you do that. Or maybe you're a gearhead listening, and you know what? you're definitely into cars, but technology may not be your thing. I get it. But the cool thing about these AIs, ChatGPT and Grok and others, Claude, these are conversational pieces that you're having back and forth. So, and it's very contextual to whatever you're doing. So go try that out. So the next is, if you're, of course, already done ChatGPT and you're like, man, I'm like, this isn't like anything new. There's this new thing that just started really popping off over the past month, I guess, 3 weeks, month, however long it's been. And it's been around for a few months, but it really just got recognition within about the past month. And it's called OpenClaw. So OpenClaw is an agentic AI. So if you're familiar with AI, you're already using all this stuff, then I would really recommend you check out OpenClaw if you've never heard of it. And you can do that by, once again, going to Google, just asking Google, hey, how do I get OpenClaw? And it'll tell you the website. You can go to OpenClaw's website, which is, I believe it's openclaw.ai, and it will walk you through the steps of getting that onto your computer. And I would highly recommend, so it's kind of a technical, it's partially technical. You can do it with the help of Grok or ChatGPT, or you can also read the developer docs that they have, and they have the commands for you, the curl commands, or for you to bring it into your system. And once you get it installed, then it walks you through the configuration steps, and you just set it up however you want to. And so the really cool thing that about OpenClaw is that it's a local agent, so it lives on your computer. So you download the program to your computer, and then when you set it up, you can set it up different ways. And I'm not going to get technical about the setup, because there's a lot of different ways that you can set it up. But the most basic way to get at its information is just to set it up with you can set up with an API key if you have an OpenAI account, or another Claude or whatever. You can go grab an API key, do it that way, and you can also do it. You can do all this through Terminal, of course. It's all done through Terminal if you're on Mac, just command line interface. And so once you get it set up, part of that configuration step is you can optionally set up a communication channel and for me, I use Telegram, but there's different communication channels that you can set up. Discord. So, if you got Discord and you want to use Discord, you can have your OpenClaw agent set up remotely to a Discord, which you then have on your mobile device, your phone. And you can communicate with this agent on your computer. So long as your computer's awake and running, you can communicate with this agent on your computer from your phone. And so it really opens up, just so many different possibilities. And, the question that I get most about this when I talk to people about it is, okay, well, what's the difference? Why can't I just use Grok to do this? What's the difference in Grok and OpenClaw? And why can't Grok has the same information. It's going to tell me generally the same things. And yes, it generally will tell you the same things. And it's an LLM, a large language model. And it's, generally we have a lot of the same training data that's used for this, just general LLMs. And the big difference or the answer to that question, and the difference in the two, is that Grok is being operated within a web browser, and it has no file system access to your local machine, to your computer. Grok is running in a web browser, and it is locked into that web browser, and it can't really do anything. It can't do anything outside that web browser. So you can't tell Grok, hey Grok, or you can tell Grok, hey Grok, do research on X, Y, and Z. Find me the best stocks and the S&P 500. Whatever parameters you want to give it. And Grok will go do the research, and it'll do really good research, and it'll come back and it'll tell you those things. And you can ask Grok different questions about whatever it is, and you can have a very in-depth conversation with Grok. And Grok is a great conversationalist. But what you can't do, or what Grok can't do, is it can't output that as a PDF on your desktop. And so what OpenClaw can do is, when you tell OpenClaw that, OpenClaw is a program that is on your computer, and it is also, so it's a program that has an AI built into it that you channel in with whatever AI you put with an API key, or whether you log into ChatGPT through Term, whatever you do on your configuration setup. And so if you had that same question to OpenClaw, and you say, hey OpenClaw, do research on the best stocks in the S&P 500 for whatever, and then you tell OpenClaw and output or save the document as a PDF to my desktop, or save it as a Word document to my desktop, or output it as or save it as an Excel spreadsheet if you had something else going on. It's going to do what you tell it to do. So in this case, if we were doing research on S&P 500 stocks, it would make sense. We could have it in a PDF, right? If we were wanting more extensive summary type research, or you could instruct it to do more research on the financials. And in that case, you could actually ask it to put out, a table format and Excel. You could also ask it to do the same thing in a PDF, of course, and it would print out a table. But, in Excel, you could actually, Excel's built to interact with numbers and whatnot, or and cells and tables and, all that stuff. So OpenClaw has file system access that gives it the ability to do that. And when you set up your OpenClaw, the first thing that we have to understand, and if you've been programming for any amount of time, you understand this, that you have to just work through problems. Everything is a problem, right? Like we just always, we're working and working and working, and it's going good until it's not, and then you get an error, or you're getting a timeout, or a process is getting hung up, or whatever the case may be. And so you pause at that moment, and you sit there and you address that issue, and hopefully you get it resolved very quickly, and hopefully we learn from it, and we don't make those mistakes again. And sometimes we have to make those mistakes over and over and over again until we build the muscle memory necessary to become more proficient in our tasks and in our processes. And eventually we get better and better and better at it, and it just kind of starts flowing. And so this is where we are with OpenClaw. So we have to understand that OpenClaw is an open source product that first I need to give the attribution to the creator, Peter. I honestly can't even remember his last name, Stein something. But you can Google it, creator of OpenClaw, Peter, he created it. And genius level guy that, he OpenAI shortly after him creating OpenClaw, which was initially called ClaudeBot, And, Anthropic has an AI model, Claude, Claude. Well, this dude created Claudebot and called it Claudebot, but he spelled it CLAWD bot, Claudebot. And so just a few days, when I picked up on it, when it first hit my radar in late January, early February of 2026, where we're at now, it wasn't but maybe a week after that Peter announced, he said, hey, I don't know if it was technically a cease and desist letter, but he got notification from Anthropic basically saying, hey, please quit using our name, basically, or Claude associated with that. And so he kindly renamed it to, first he named it Moltbot, because the lobster was the icon, the mascot of Claudebot. So he said, okay, well, the lobster is going to go from Claudebot to Moltbot. We molted. And so we're like, oh, okay, we molted, but no one was really that happy with that name. And it only lasted for a couple days, where Moltbot, and that's where Moltbook came from, was during that period. And then only a few days into Moltbot that he announced, hey, we've molted again, and now we finally found our home, and we're going to call the project OpenClaw. And so that's where we sit today. And so it is an open source product, and which is fantastic because we all get to use it free of charge. And but it's not a for-profit product, which there's good things about for-profit company. They're driven to make money and make the product more proficient as possible. And so Peter, he has to pay his bills and stuff, and all these other developers that are now managing and maintaining this program, they have real jobs that they have to do, and they can't spend all day on OpenClaw. So when you're using OpenClaw, it's we're still in terminal, in the command line. If you're comfortable in the command line, that's great. You'll feel right at home with OpenClaw. And if you're not familiar with command line, then I would ask Grok, ask ChatGPT, hey, just give me a few little tips about a terminal command line interface, about what I could do on my computer to just test some things out. Show me how to change directories in command line interface. What does it mean to change directories when I'm in terminal? How do I go into a directory, and how do I create a file? And once I've created that file, how do I get into that file to edit it if it's just a text file, for instance? And so once you become more comfortable in terminal, then you can really just kind of stay put in terminal, which is kind of weird. Because a little bit about me, I'm not a trained classic textbook developer, in the sense of that I didn't go to school for it. But interestingly, when you talk to a lot of people in this stuff, most people really didn't go to school for that. They just had a passion for whatever it is. And so, I have a passion for this technology. And it is a profound technology that is, in my life, I'm in my early 40s, and I've always been into technology since I was a little kid, taking things apart, getting monster trucks and taking the remote control apart at a 4 or 5-year-old to think that I could figure it out and just stare at it, or a remote control or whatever it would be. It's just, this stuff's fascinating to me. And so, but I went on and did other things with my life, and then it wasn't until maybe about 10 years ago that I really took interest in programming, just kind of started looking into it. Okay, what is so Free Code Camp, and then you go to Free Code Camp, you check some things out and try to write a Python program. You buy a book, you read it. And, but I really, really, really started getting into it about 6 years ago. And was when I got into the blockchain. And when you want to really interact with the blockchain, you really need to have your own, node. So like I was messing a lot with Ethereum at the time, and so I got my own node on my computer, but to do that was, at that time in 2020, there was no AI to go to ask it. It was going through the developer forums and trying to figure it out. And there's, your command has 15 different flags associated with it. And anyways, I got that. And that was like my first win, was get my first EVM on my computer and running my own node, and then being able to connect, through my own RPC and doing all that interaction. Until today, and the game changed really in 2023 with ChatGPT. And once I started using ChatGPT, it just lit a fire, and everything became possible, or so I thought. But I always hit a glass ceiling. I could I could get an iOS app going, but you can't build any substance into it. So I've just been knocking away at it, and then the game changed again just here a month and a half ago with OpenClaw, and it's changing everything. And so I really hope this helps a little bit, and if anything, I just hope that you just take one little piece of this and just do something. Like, it doesn't even have to do what I am talking about. Just do something with this AI. And even if it's just going to Google and just asking it just do something with it, and just take your first step. If you've already taken those first steps and you're deep into it, then that's great. Get into OpenClaw. But if you're not familiar with Terminal, make yourself uncomfortable in this stuff, because you're going to need to know how to do this stuff. And the quicker you learn how to do it, the quicker you reduce the friction in life, and the quicker your timidness with AI will fade away, and the more you'll realize that this isn't really something to be afraid of. This is something to harness. And you'll see how you can harness it in your own ways, in your own practical applications, in your own workflows, in your own work, in your own business. And it will be truly, truly helpful for you. So you do that, and I will talk to you next time on Country Code. Thank you so much for listening. You have a fantastic day. Take care.